favourite song of theirs may come on. So these things are definitely a message from your family members. Pet reactions. I have had readings where they've had their dog in the room, so I've attended someone's house, and a cat. And the cat started to wind themselves around my feet until someone's come into the room, which is a spirit, obviously not a physical body. And then the cats literally started scratching at my leg or just ran off into the corner. Dogs tend to be, well, that's by my experience, tend to be a little bit more receptive, so they'll bark. I have seen animals sitting in corners, scratching at just air, as if someone's standing there and they're talking to them. And that may be the owner of the dog that's passed on. It can be a grandfather or anybody else that they're very attuned to and that has a loving feeling. So you'll find that dogs will still be very attentive and receptive to spirit, even though they're not here in physical body. Objects out of place. You know that our little family members in spirit love to remove things or move things from us. Music. They love to play music and give us messages that way. So many different things. I actually find that you'll end up playing the same movie over and over again, but you don't really get why you do things like that. But they often put things in your place so that you have a silent reminder or a loving reminder of them in different ways. What I do want you to know is that your family and spirit don't change with their comedic reactions, don't really change in how they reply to you. Majority of the time, they will give you exactly the same sort of information they would have if they were down here on earth. So don't be surprised when you're going to a medium or when you're going out there that the signs they're going to give other people in order for you to understand that they're with you, they're giving you guidance, and that they're trying to make you understand that there are things around the corner that you need to not do, recognize, so that they can help you along in this lifetime. The other type of signs that you can look for, which are right in front of you, is quite often will say, look, I think Sarah's really sad. She's feeling really lonely and very detached. You tend to sort of hear the same sort of ongoing talk that this person will say. And quite often when you look at it and reflect it back to yourself, it's usually yourself, not the other person that we're talking about. So we'll constantly seem to find people or look at people saying, oh, look, they've always got dramas with finances, they've got dramas with this, or they've got problems. It may give you a sign to come that it's like I say to you, be careful what you ask for, be careful what you say, because we start to create all these things and the way we talk. That's like when we're attracting relationships. I find that a lot of people come in and they say, look, I continually seem to attract the same sort of man. He takes money, I mother them, I look after them, and then they go off and cheat on me. So when we look at it from another perspective, they tend to cheat on me. They're always either directed at other things. Can you relate it back to yourself? And are you cheating yourself? Because we tend to, are they very similar to your father or a male figure in your life? And is there a particular reason that we enjoy having that type of emotion continually in our life, when we don't want to have that recognizable emotion of hatred or sadness or just that pain and suffering? When we recognize that we're continually doing it and we finally get to a point where, hey, I don't like this anymore, then we will tend to change the storyline. But because we're not willing and we're stuck in one way and we haven't grown spiritually, but we've probably grown exponentially, we tend to attract these people. I often say to people, they'll go to me, look, I really want to hear from my dad. So remember that family and spirits don't communicate exactly how we do. Quite often they'll come through and you'll smell their cigar or their cigarette or their perfume, which just sort of makes you stop and you sort of think, well, is that them? The next thing may be I need to make a decision about whether I'm selling my house or keeping my house. So they'll often give you multiple signs. A song may come up that says sell your house or stay, and you'll constantly hear the same sort of information. You may see signs that say stay. You may see signs or books where you pick up a class and they say, well, you need to stay in the present, and you're looking at spiritual direction, and it also has the same repetitive message. Sometimes we're not the brightest tools in the shed. We constantly question ourselves and our gut instincts. So we create our own drama and we create our own downfall by not listening to our own inner gut message that tells us that we're either on the right path, or yes, that person is correct, or yes, I am thinking the right thing. So sometimes we really just need to be more in tune with ourselves in order to see the signs around us. Let's talk about work situations and seeing signs that it's time to either move on or there are other opportunities out there that we're not seeing. Throughout my working life, a lot of the time, being psychic, obviously I didn't really pay attention to things most of the time because I would constantly go back to jobs or roles that would drain me or create such anxiety. I would walk into job situations where everyone was on edge. They were either going to lose their job tomorrow. It was just so distressing for me because I'm empathic. I could read everybody. I could see what was coming up. So it got quite traumatic after a while, and I honestly felt like I was going through mental health problems myself. So I would quite often end up becoming quite angry and very frustrated because I could see what was coming. But, do I take my own messages? No, obviously not. So I would go back there daily, be distressed, and either leave in tears or they'd kick me out the back door because I would just be an absolute mess. After being in an environment, especially in like office buildings, it wasn't really good for me at all. So what I'm trying to say is, we often, we get an opportunity in the jobs offered to us at the beginning. We don't see that quite often that door opening is a stepping stone for other future roles. Or, on another point, it's either we have to make a decision whether that fits us spiritually, empathically. So we often go for, I need that job to pay my bills, rather than go, okay, maybe I can wait. So going back to my example, I take this job one day. I go in there, I'm so excited. I've just finished my diploma in community services and youth work, and so excited. The first day I walk in there, a lady sizes me up and says to me, what are you doing here? You've taken my job. I kindly say, oh, look, I'm really sorry about that. Didn't mean to step on your toes. Within that whole day, somebody else comes up to me and tells me a story that, the place is really toxic. This is not happening. This is not happening. So after my first day, I walk out, I've got a major headache and I feel like I'm going to vomit. So I think, right, I'm going to ground myself a little bit more. Obviously, the first day was a little bit bad. There are a few issues there, but I can soldier on and do what I want to do and get this career movement and start moving up the ladder. Second day, I sit down with my boss, and her first thing is, and if you can't get this answer to tell you what's not going to happen with you, then I sit down with her. She says, look, if you're looking for a career move, I know in your interview they told you that there is career advancement here, but I've been here for 7 years and it's highly unlikely that you'll be going anywhere. So I sort of went, oh, okay. After spending 3 to 6 months in this job, I literally were getting signs like there were jobs being offered to me left, right and centre. I was seeing more and more information coming out about different people, but I felt like I had to stay there. For some reason, I felt like, no, I can master this. I can get through this. These people aren't going to get me down. I'm going to stay here. I'd heard gossip about myself. I'd heard so many things, and I still soldiered on to the point where I knew maybe 4 weeks before that they were going to ask me to leave because the contract was ending and they were going to go back down to the basics. So 4 weeks later, they asked me to leave. I'm stuck without a job. I'm struggling. It's hard. I don't know where I'm going. I'm lost, and I start going downhill quite rapidly. Another job gets offered to me, and I start doing the same thing again. Oh, I need the money. I'll take that job. Oh, I need the money. I'll take that job. I'd been offered a job with this company 3 to 4 times, and I was like, oh no, I'm okay. Oh no, I'm okay. And the lady that had actually offered me the job on multiple occasions stopped me in the street one day. I was walking back from work catching a bus, and I saw her on the side of the street, and she said to me, is there a reason why you don't want to work for our company? Is it that we're not good enough? Do you not see that the place that you're at is quite toxic and that your growth is very stunted here and that you're not going anywhere? And I sort of looked at her and went, oh, thank you. I never really looked at it that way, and I said, I've just sort of been doing the motions of going to work. So I'd sort of gone home and said, thank you very much, taken the conversation, and never really sort of thought about it until that morning when I'd gone back to work, and I was sort of catching the bus and going back to work, and then had been sort of pondering over the information she'd given me, and I went into work and looked at all the people that were in there and thought, she's so right. I'd been told previously at my other job that there was no career advancement. I'd taken this job and they pretty much told me the same thing, so why am I here? So I went, okay, so I had the number of this lady, and I'd called her and said, look, I really appreciate our conversation yesterday. I was wondering if that job was still open. And she said, look, unfortunately, no. So I sort of was a bit confused, like, why would you tell me that, why did you not take this job? And now you're telling me this job is not available. So I was like, okay. A little bit confused, a little bit worried, like, okay, I need to get the hell out of this job. So after I hung up from her, 5 minutes later, another person called me about a job that was absolutely perfect and amazing for me. And I was like, oh, I don't know. It's too good to be true. Again, self-doubt. Again, I didn't get the message. She was there to stop me, to make me think, to make me rethink where I was and what my career path was. So I'd said to this guy on the other end of the phone, I said, look, if you can give me a day, let me think about it, I'll get back to you. Went home again, thought about it, and then sat there eating popcorn because, as you do when you're thinking, you're eating popcorn, chocolate, or whatever you're doing. and then realize, what am I waiting for? Why am I still here?